Ciao. Welcome to my introduction to Italy, a journey where I bring you on my study abroad experience, which was very enjoyable. So join me as I open the many beautiful doors that were throughout the region of Italy to the journey of a land of culture, art, and wine. To the right, you will see the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, the upper right, which is a very historical bridge from the fact that it spans the Arno River, which connects the two regions of the city of Florence, to the fact that in the upper right was a corridor where one of the founding fathers of the Renaissance, Cosmo I Medici, used to use this corridor. In fact, he had the corridor built to ensure that he did not have to travel the public streets and to protect his safety and security from his palace on one side of the river to the government offices that are on the other side of the river. So a very historical journey indeed on this bridge, where in World War II, the Allied troops were able to cross this bridge in the dead of night and surprise the German troops and liberate the city. So quite a bit of history here, along with the cultural entertainment of today, which is everywhere, where you are encouraged to grab some great wine that are produced in this Tuscany region of Italy and enjoy some companionship, some relaxation time, some music on many spots of the city. So the art of the city, as evidenced in the bottom right-hand corner, that is the symbol of Florence, which is based on a iris florentina, and it's a beautiful representation. And this particular example just happens to be on a street grate, but it is everywhere throughout the city. And again, a beautiful symbol of the fact that they celebrate all things of beauty. Along with the wine, which is predominant in this Tuscany region, is the variety of food. And I show you this pizza to demonstrate the fact that my inept ordering skills, I ordered a pizza of tuna and peppers, and it ended up being fabulous. It was quite funny at the time because I didn't mean to order it that particular way, but it ended up being a delicious reminder to try things that you might not ordinarily try. So I would highly encourage it. In this example, you will see the dominant piece of architecture in the city of Florence. This is the Duomo. Obviously, it stands above any other building in the area. This particular picture was taken from the Piazza Michelangelo, which is above the city of Florence. And in this era, this is when Cosimo I Medici of the city, of the kind of the founding father of the Renaissance, where this particular Medici family came from very humble beginnings, and they started in banking and mercantile, and they made their fortune. And one of the ways that Cosimo I put his mark upon the city was to ensure that the Duomo, the dome of the Duomo, the larger dome, was completed. It sat vacant. They built the building in the 12th century, but in the 13th century, he really wanted to make sure that this particular piece was completed. So he enlisted the help of craftsmen, in particular Brunelleschi, to complete this Duomo. Where no one else thought it was possible, this particular engineering feat was remarkable, and the fact that he funded it when no one else believed that it could happen and still stands today is a testament to the engineering and the art that came out of this particular time period and influenced the world, in fact. So the Medici, as I mentioned, were patrons of the arts and the engineering, and they funded many of these particular artists, the Michelangelo, the Donatello, the Da Vinci, and they not only influenced the art, which you see here examples of frescoes, which are on two of the villas that the Medicis owned. The one was one of their countryside villas where they had themselves painted into a a painting that represented the Roman goddesses and gods, which was quite interesting that they wanted to be represented as one as powerful and as influential as the gods of olden times. And on the right was an example of the ornateness of one of the ceilings in their palace. Everywhere you looked, there was detail and art that still stands today. Just an amazing representation. And this particular, where this piece of art was done, is the PD Palace, which is where the corridor ended that connected the Medici Palace with the government offices. So again, they could walk that and walk the corridor above the city and not have to interact with the citizens. So it ensured their safety, security, and their privacy. So connected to the Palazzo PD, which was one of my favorite experiences, was the Medici Garden, which is just absolutely beautiful. Happened to visit on a rainy day, and these are some examples of the tranquility and the statues that were represented from, again, the gods and goddesses of mainly Roman, and the water garden to the hydrangeas that were present. And it was more of a formal garden, but it had many side gardens that you could explore, and you could understand back in the day how the tranquility and how you would be at peace if you wanted to escape from the hustle and bustle of the mercantile and the governing of the region that the Medici family had to experience. So a beautiful representation of a spot of nature within the city that was their own private garden. Then we moved on to visiting Rome and visiting Pisa. And on the Roman side, this is a view of a former papal residence, and in the background you can't actually see St. Peter's, but I was struck by the fact that it bordered the river and it has the Italian flag in the foreground with one of the historic bridges, and it kind of blended the modern with the old. And it was a great understanding of the fact that this particular residence was, again, built with keeping the security of the Pope at the time. And there was, again, a corridor that took them all the way to St. Peter's, Cathedral in the Vatican at the time. So it was absolutely beautiful and had wonderful views of the city. To the right was the Pisa Baptistry, and yes, that is where the Leaning Tower of Pisa is, but I elected to show this in the fact that you understand that even the baptistry, which was a separate area from the church, was ornate, beautiful, decorated with all different statues and frescoes, and the fact that you can see the ancient wall in the background. And if you look at the throng of tourists, you understand that all of the work that they did historically then is still evident today. And we go there to enjoy its beauty and its, cultural significance to not only the religious art, but the art and the engineering of today. Okay, talking about an engineering model is Venice, and the fact that you've got the Venice canals, the city on the water, and to the right is Murano, which is one of the islands that encompasses the Venice area. In particular, on the left, you have the Rialto Bridge, which is just a stunning piece of architecture as well. And then the Murano, that island is actually is home to many of the glass factories that produce the Murano glass that this region is known for. So again, environmentally, definitely makes you aware of the fragility of the fact that this city is on water, and the only way to get around is by boat. Then moving on to Siena, which is again a day trip away from Florence, is a great example of a medieval city. Very much enjoyed this trip. So the left you have one of the large piazzas del Campo, where they hold a yearly horse race that has been known throughout the world to represent the different regions in the town of Siena. And if you note the clock tower that is in the plaza, the view on the right was taken from that tower, and that is of the Doma Siena, which was completed in 1348, one of the churches of the area. Just a beautiful region, and thoroughly enjoyed the experience there and would highly recommend the trip. And if you note, this particular statue, which I would enjoy, and I knew that many others were, was the defeat of Medusa, Perseus' triumph over Medusa. And I just wanted to have the equation here that the patrons, which were the wealthy, the people that had a lot of wealth, sponsored the artist, which in turn gave us the art of today, which is why we go to the region to enjoy all of this. And it is just an economic boon for the area. Last, I close with the Ponte Vecchio Bridge, which I had the great fortune of living very near and crossed on a daily basis many times. And again, this is a great view of the historic bridge over the Arno River with the corridor on top where the Medici family used to travel back and forth over the bridge. So grazie, thank you for listening. And just P.S., be aware of the Italian drivers.